Fun fact, as we were making this thumbnail, I almost replaced Phil with an Xbox logo. And looking it up, I realized the Xbox logo has been the same since the Xbox One launched. Hey guys, can we talk about how it's been obvious they weren't going to try this entire gen since May of 2020? How about June of 2020?
So this was 3.5 years ago, so I get that some people might have forgotten, but did you know that the Xbox Series did not ship with a new game from Microsoft? I don't mean a new exclusive game. I mean a new game, period. There's not even a new cross-gen game.
It was
PS5 wasn't super great, but you got Miles Morales and Demon's Souls and Sackboy.
Yeah.
Microsoft had nothing. Zero. Zilch. Not a single fucking thing. Not one new game. Well, this whole thing has really shown like the limitations of gaming journalism. Mm-hmm. Because even now they can't really go in. Like, I get that it's Ryan McCaffrey and he's genetically predisposed to being unable to go in, but he put up an article right like today that's trying to take responsibility away from Phil. Like, obviously this is Satya Nadella and people higher up coming in and meddling.
It's true. He's talking to people and people are being like, well, you know, the extra pressure for the $70 billion means the boardroom's making the calls. And I'm like, oh, for the last 11 years?
I wonder why they would have to come in. Could someone have ruined the carpet? Maybe pee all over
like,
it?
none of this is
everywhere.
And here's the thing, none of this is new behavior from Microsoft.
No.
Like, they did this exact thing. This exact thing is what happened to Lion's Head, and fucking Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer did a fucking video talking about how they didn't want to do that studios anymore.
They paid so much money to do a self-funded documentary made for them that basically reads as state media, where they still say the most damning things possible only 2.5 years later. Where they're like, we don't want to make the mistake of buying a studio and running them improperly and crashing them into the ground like that. We want to better support them to do what they're good at. Anyways, we should say
who's making Fable? Who's making Fable? The fucking people who used to make Forza? Fucking Playground's making Fable? I'm sure they're so fucking good at that. Oh, wait, look, we're getting reports that it's going bad because they've never made an RPG before.
Also, the core problem, and if any of you motherfuckers in the game journalism industry would actually fucking cover this, my blood pressure could go down. They won't hire people. Tango got closed because they had employees.
And they wanted to hire more employees. A sin.
Don't sit there and be like, well, they had to staff up and they weren't sure if the game was coming. No, they had to staff, period.
None of these fucking... First of all, let's not even get into the element of it of Tango, the only Japanese one, probably legally unable to do that contractor shit.
Probably
a nice juicy target, considering that Microsoft's favorite million quotation marks cost saving measure can't be employed at them. I never see journalists talking about the contractor shit ever. Guys, that's the... it's like you're talking about an athlete's poor performance and dancing around the fact he has cancer.
Right. It's like, oh, we have no idea why he slowed down. He's missing a goddamn leg. It's so
once
fucking
again, because we
infuriating.
have to explain this because nobody talks about it. Microsoft has a company-wide policy to use mostly contractors on their projects, and not just contractors that can only work for 18 months at a time before they have to be gone for 6 months. And it's not like they're rotated to another project for 6 months. They can't work at Microsoft for 6 months. So none of these, they are incapable of having anyone who has developed any experience because of this. And most of Microsoft's games run on fucking proprietary engines, so it's not like if they're making a game on Unreal, there's a huge hiring base of people who know how to use Unreal. And nobody talks about it. This is the root cause of everything. Would things be good if this wasn't the case? Probably not, but they wouldn't be nearly as bad.
They could ship a game ever.
Yeah. It
This
wouldn't be
is
this
such a-
end-ending nightmare.
It's such a fucked up situation. It's so fucking crazy dealing with this.
Yeah, and to be dealing with this for years, and then when the inevitable consequences of obvious things that are a matter of public record happen, to see an entire news industry act like it was some random physical phenomenon, like it was a freak summer storm that happened. You cannot not know what the fuck you're talking about this hard, this loudly, and then demand to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. No one else in the industry has this problem of like, oh, we want to be 80% contractors, and oh, by the way, they can only work on a game for 18 months. That's insane. That's not sustainable. All you're doing... Okay, so during 7th Gen, when they farmed out a bunch... when Japan's studios farmed out a bunch of games to Western game developers because it was cheaper, and then they had a tech problem because they never developed the engines to make large-scale games going forward, that was the cost. You only saw the short-term money savings. You didn't think about the long-term cost of, we never invested in our tools, and now we're playing catch-up.
Right.
That is literally what Microsoft has been doing for, as I am aware of, at least 4 years. At least 4 years, Microsoft has had this policy. That's why you can't ship a fucking game. Hey, we don't even have to try this hard. You remember when the guy who was supposed to fix Halo left for, what was it, Netflix?
Yeah.
Netflix.
You remember that? Game journalists, do you remember that?
No.
Because the core problem of why he had to leave is they would not let him hire people. They did not want to ship a new Halo. They did not want to fund hiring people. They did not want to staff a studio. They could not fix Halo Infinite more because of this.
Yeah. So if you mix years and years of this contractor horseshit with the unholy cancer that is Game Pass, because they don't want to pay people to make the games, and then they don't want to sell the games, they just want to disrupt the industry enough to where they'll eventually win. And through that entire process, continually, actively, and wantonly destroyed their ability to exist in this industry. You cannot investor money loss leader your way into never making a product and then act surprised when your business fails.
This is one of, like, tech companies have gotten so used to, you don't sell the steak, you sell the sizzle. Except with tech companies, there is no actual steak. You're faking a sizzle. But that doesn't work in games because people who buy games are normal human beings and not tech investors.
Right.
Yeah.
Another data point, just a fun data point. Every single first-party game Sony announced in 2020 for the PS5 is out now. Basically, none of the ones Microsoft announced are.
Because Wolverine was announced in 2021.
Oh,
for anyone who is confused on that.
Let's see. Yeah, there was every single one. Meanwhile, Microsoft, where the fuck's Everwild? Where the fuck's Fable? Where the fuck's Perfect Dark wasn't an answer. Where the fuck's Avowed later this year, I know, but still 4 years. 4. We're still waiting on games from the reveal event.
It's so upsetting. And for years, I've had to deal with people who were the shittiest they could possibly be. Mm-hmm. The absolute shittiest they could possibly be because they simply would not listen to the message that is rooted in concern. It is so much easier to not give a shit about the welfare of the industry and how competitive Microsoft is, because you could just be myopic and not think about the ramifications for the other two the moment Microsoft stops competing. Because this is not an easy space to enter.
Microsoft closed Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog Studios, and Roundhouse Games. I got the names of Alpha Dog Studios and Roundhouse Games correctly. Matt Booty couldn't.
No, he couldn't. He fucked up their names. You cheated on your wife and forgot her name when you apologized.
Uh-huh.
Arcane Austin was Prey and Redfall. Phil explicitly said they would not close them for the failing of Redfall.
So, just to cover the timeline real quick, after the game Prey, Bethesda/Microsoft at different points in time, because you can't not blame Microsoft when so much of the development of Redfall happens under them, forces them to make a game that no one at the studio wants to make, that no one expects from the studio, that they're not good at making, and no one wants. They rush them to ship early. Phil blames them on a podcast and said there was no situation where it could come out better. He apologizes for that and takes blame in an interview later. He says they won't shut them down, and then he fucking shuts them down. Almost all of that timeline is in a single year.
And you can blame I saw motherfuckers saying, well, Microsoft didn't force them to make that game. They were begging Microsoft to let them cancel it and make something else. Because they knew it wasn't coming together, but they knew it wasn't their strength. That this was supposed to be the sort of thing that Microsoft would let them do. More freedom for the studios to make the games they're good at instead of a fucking Borderlands clone. Tango Gameworks is the evil within. Hi-Fi Rush and Ghostwire Tokyo. Phil explicitly said Hi-Fi Rush was a success. Everybody said Hi-Fi Rush was a success.
Yeah, even Aaron Greenberg and Matt Booty said Hi-Fi Rush was a fucking success.
And you know what? I'm gonna give Jeff Grubb some credit, because way back when this game came out, he said, I have people in Microsoft and I'm worried that this game didn't really make any money because of Game Pass and how that works. And he got shouted down by Xbox fanboys and had to recanted when they talked about how successful it was. Well, it turns out he was fucking right. Turns out you actually do have to sell games, even if you're on Game Pass. Because guess what? Game Pass doesn't give you any fucking metrics. Then Matt Booty says yesterday, the day after closing them, we need more studios that can make smaller award-winning games. And one of the big guys over at Tango quote tweeted it today with his shelf of awards from Hi-Fi Rush. Well, no, he meant Balantro, like Balantro and Manor Lords, completely impossible to predict and replicate lightning in a bottle games made by one person.
You could literally go to any grocery store in the country, pick up someone who stocks groceries, and they would do a better fucking job running this company. Because at the end of the day, like they understand the physical notion of, in order to sell this product, it needs to be where people like it, and they would like if it isn't banged up and dented and fucked up. Oh, by the way, we should probably buy more green beans to sell them, because that's what they're buying, so someone needs to make it somewhere!
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but, if you don't know this, grocery stores sell bread and milk at a loss, and I think eggs too. Because those things are called loss leaders. People have to buy them, and if they're cheaper in your store, they'll come in to get them and fill out the rest of their grocery list in your store. Mm-hmm. If a tech company ran grocery stores, they just wouldn't sell bread and milk anymore because those don't have good enough margins.
Yep.
Yeah. It's the same reason that tech guys took over GameStop, and all of a sudden most of GameStop's floor space is gamer headsets that cost $250 and they don't have any fucking actual games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because games have a small margin, but this giant dog shit headset has a great margin.
Did you guys see the
director of that Blade game tore into them? I honestly don't know if the industry can handle this. Like we're reaching the point where developers who work for Microsoft are openly going for their throats. And what's Microsoft going to do? Retaliate now in the current environment? No, you won't. Or they will, and they're even dumber than even I think.
On that note, I have heard that the entire rationale, like because of how fucked the Xbox division is, how just under the magnifying glass they are, they need to cut costs now. The rationale for it being these studios was they weren't currently making a game.
Yeah.
So some bean counter went, all right, these studios are making a game, so that will be less money than these other studios starting new projects.
Yeah, that's sure what happens when you have a colossal giga corporation that's far too big for the human mind to organize, that no amount of delegation can make rational, that really should have been split up a decade ago, at least.
Yeah, no, they should have, and they barely skirted away by not getting split up by doing the most piddly shit in the world.
Yeah, can you imagine how much less active harm Xbox would have done to this industry if they couldn't just pull Microsoft's bank account?
Yeah.
So anyways, we're about to see that as all of these things fall everywhere in the entire industry. It'll be interesting how we come out on the other side.
God.
It's a good thing I like indie games and middle tier games.
They want games that sell at the Halo level and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're doing the Sony transition, where it's like if it's less than 5 million sales, it basically doesn't exist for us. So none of that shit, none of the shit they have in the tank is safe. Like Machine Games isn't safe, Ninja Theory isn't safe, Obsidian isn't safe, In Exile isn't safe, fucking Double Fine isn't safe.
It's not totally okay.
We need to make games that'll sell like this many millions of copies. That's how we can save the company. It's like a man standing at the bottom of an 11-foot pit going, if I had a 12-foot ladder, I'd be fine. And ignoring the fact that it's starting to rain, motherfucker.
And we're getting reports that like core Xbox studios are on the chopping block.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be? Everything
Yeah.
seems to be.
So
This is good. This is going to end in 2 or 3 years. There isn't going to be an Xbox platform. There's not going to be Game Pass, and they're gonna make Call of Duty and sell Blizzard's things, and that'll be it.
Well, that's why they have to close these studios. They need to streamline the whole operation so that the core management team that's fucking everything up can shove their hands deeper into every aspect of the operation.
That is explicitly what they said. Yeah, they said their leadership team is spread too thin. They can't keep track of all these projects. That's why they're not coming out. That's why it's not working out. And
Matt Walker.
Yeah, Matt Walker's like, those people are fucking worthless.
Yeah,
those
the people
are useless.
in that team provide zero value anyhow. Speaking of executive management and the initiatives they push for, there was an article from a couple years ago Chris brought up before this podcast, and I took some quotes from it that I figured we'd read verbatim before we segue into the Game Pass related part of this. In meetings, Mr. Spencer's staff would present arguments for why Game Pass wouldn't work. Publishers wouldn't participate, or it would eat into profits, said former Xbox veteran Richard Irving. Phil Spencer wouldn't take no for an answer, Irving added, saying Spencer was at the center of pushing forward with Xbox Game Pass. He was always trying to find a way to make it work.
And this is a glowing look at his determination thing from
So
2022.
Just
Which,
to be
by
clear,
the way, already too late.
Yeah.
Yes, by 2022, we had been yelling about the ramifications it had on the industry for 2 years because we predicted what happened this year of they stopped wanting to pay anyone to get their games.
I imagine, and it makes me smile every time, watching a room full of bedraggled people who know what the fuck they're talking about, trying to explain to this thick fuckwit the very obvious ramifications of not selling video games, and him just going, nah, I'd win.
Microsoft is debating raising the price of Game Pass again.
Who could have predicted that?
Something they did not even a year ago.
Who could have predicted that? Didn't Chris even make a prediction live on that big thing when they raised it? How long until they do it again? And I believe it was by the end of this year.
Dan, we literally, in thing we don't want to cover on Big Thing to mention in 2024 at Game of the Year, we had a new, more expensive Game Pass tier that has Call of Duty on it. And this entire discussion is happening because they don't want to put Call of Duty on it because they can't. Of course they can't. Even if it's just losing Xbox Series sales, which it isn't. If there's somebody who has both, I bet they'll play it on Xbox to get it for quote unquote free.
Mm-hmm.
So if
you can't have it. So it's either this is the choice facing you, remaining Xbox fans. Either Game Pass will be $25 a month and have Call of Duty on it, or it will stay only $15 a month and not. It's not. They are not going to eat that several $100 million loss. They just won't. They have no reason to. Why? So they don't piss you guys off? I'm a little fucking late for that.
The Xbox brand is dead. It's toxic.
Yeah. Like we hit a point of no return population wise. Your brand is gone. So this company is only in squeeze the whales for as much as we can get out of it, strip the copper out of the walls, just try and balance the sheet before we pretend this division never existed.
If I work at an Xbox studio, what fucking reason do I have to be motivated to help this game get out?
Uh-huh.
I don't. In fact, I might be motivated to go slower because I'm willing to bet if you're not shipping, you're safer than if you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very much what these quotes make it sound like.
Do you know of any games that aren't just shipping already, goddammit, despite being 6 years in development, Chris? Do we have any news about that?
This is from Jeff Grubb. Perfect Dark, quote, isn't coming together at all.
No,
it's in a very
shit!
Reminder, they said they were still in pre-production in June of last year. Not even a year ago. They're like, we're not even in real development yet.
You listen to people who cover this
2 or 3
industry
years out,
who somehow were expecting this game to show up ever? It's fucking insane. You sound like a child.
I think Perfect Dark 1 are most likely to be canceled. Concord might have beaten it, but I think that this was a strong contender, if nothing else. I can't see it not happening. Like, I just can't. Like, it's they haven't made any progress, and now the Grim Reaper is here to try and cut their way to profitability.
Yeah, like this is like when they say you can't beat random chance on the stock market. Not having an entire bracket of executive oversight and just letting people steal shit from the office would have made more and better games than they did.
Yeah.
So literally what happened is they had leads from the 2 different groups working on it constantly change what they wanted compared to each other, pissing each other off constantly, and throwing away shitloads of work nonstop. And we sit here and we're like, well, modern video games take so long to make. No. They don't take that long to make with nothing to show.
All you have to do is go read the original, what happened to fucking Lion's Head, where Microsoft went, well, Fable's successful, but it's not as successful as Call of Duty, so make something else that might be. Make this free-to-play multiplayer thing. Oops, it's not coming together. You're gone.
Right? Like after you killed the goose that laid the golden eggs, you just wandered around the countryside slaughtering random regular geese.
And then you found another goose that laid golden eggs and did it again.
There I go, killing again.
That's all they know.
The most I can hope for on the Western side of the industry is it contracts enough that all the tech investors leave. And then maybe the people who know what the fuck they're doing can start to rebuild the Western side of the industry. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Like, I really don't. I think, and I have to say this now, just the one last fucking prophecy. Sony will be where Microsoft is now instantly if they get Paramount. If they, it doesn't matter. They're separate. It doesnn't matter. $26 billion cash they spend on Paramount. They will be shooting Insomniac in the head because their fucking Soy Jack cinematic universe didn't take off.
Yeah.
Like, they will instantly get to this level of brain dead because you can't, there's no other way to be when you're spending money in this amount because it doesn't make sense to spend this much money. These acquisitions don't make sense and have never made sense.
I thought that, like, the interest rate being normalized would stop this. That they wouldn't try and do an acquisition like that because that's crazy. It makes no sense.
That's the only plan these companies have anymore. So if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah, like their entire strategy is based around refusing to recognize reality and the finite limits of a physical universe. So they only have strategies that involve doing stupid shit that cannibalizes the economy.
This is from that Ryan McCaffrey article with him talking with old Xbox guard. And this is going to make me insane. Microsoft literally did what every other company did. They thought COVID made Game Pass subs go up real fast. COVID made them sell a bunch of consoles real fast. This will continue forever. We can afford to buy Activision. We're going up to the fucking moon, baby. We're gonna have 100 million Game Pass subs by the end of 2025. Oh shit. Turns out acquiring Activision took a hell of a lot longer and cost a lot more than anybody expected. So now we have to recoup all those legal costs and the fact that money faucet turned off by the time the acquisition finally went through.
Man, how is everyone in management over there this stupid? Like, at some level, I understand the journalists like refuse to learn. But the management who just makes these decisions that have gigantic numbers attached to them, an entire job is supposed to be able to read a number sheet, can't.
Reading a number sheet is not their job. That group is both insular and self-selecting. You don't get that job unless you are bad at it. Unless you actually believe the kind of stupid shit your boss and peers believe.
Yeah, 20 years ago, that wasn't really the case. You did see even 10 years ago, because that happened to John Riccitiello over at EA. You still saw people get fired for incompetence, but it seems like now the executive class has fully become like an actual social class, like an actual caste. Yeah. And it does not matter how much they fail. Yeah. They will continue to get work at these executive levels.
Because they're going to ride this out. Because in my head, there are only two ways this goes. Either there is an end of this scale of corporations, or there isn't. So either they get the great bonus and they get to exit out as all of this shit falls apart, or they get to be tyrannical pseudo-governments. It's all fucking insane. And this news is so bad, it's actually putting me off of even Sony.
Yeah.
Like, this shit actually leaves such a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, yeah, fuck AAA gaming. I just don't care anymore. Like, it's actually eating away at my joy of the fucking medium.
They need...
Yeah, like, there's all these... all this shit is just making me go, maybe I should just stop buying new games and just play old RPGs for the rest of my life. God, I found the console price cut wiki the other day because I was like, I needed to know when things got price cuts and by how much and to what. And I was like, wow, we don't do any of this anymore.
Yeah, no. And I kept screaming about it, and people were like, I have to listen to certain things. I'm not going to name names. I have to listen to certain people who cover the industry who sit there and go, well, it's just so expensive to make these consoles now. It's just so expensive. It's not viable. It's not viable.
No, it's come out that it's not.
No, motherfucker. What? They've been making money on the PS5 since 3 months after launch.
And typically,
you're supposed to be a loss leader. You sell a product, a subscription that's virtually necessary to use the fucking unit, that's 99% profit, and you still can't sell the hardware at a loss?
Sorry, we won't carry eggs anymore.
In fact, we're doing nothing but destroying eggs.
This actually works out for us.
Please sign up for a subscription service of all of these old eggs we have in the warehouse.
Oh, no. Holy shit.
So yeah, it's really exciting that Microsoft's blowing up. Sony's got nothing. This year's depressing on a console manufacturer side.
Yeah, I think it's crazy.
Xbox is blowing up. Nintendo has nothing. Sony has nothing and really should. They don't have an excuse like Nintendo does.
No.
Well, they do have an excuse. They canceled all those service games that were going to be their entire slate for the next 3 years.
That is not an excuse. You building a fucked up testament to Mammon is not an excuse for you not making product. I saw a Twitter post where it's just like, none of this news with Xbox is real. Let me tell you, my kid's in the other room and he's enjoying Xbox with his friends. And that's real. That's reality. And I'm like, and next year they won't have shit to play. Yeah, I know. I saw the fucking thing in the fucking Ryan McCaffrey thing that's like, on the latest episode of the podcast, and it was the Xbox one, and the title's like, trying to understand Xbox's moves. And Jeff Gerstmann's latest podcast is also really full of the tone of him trying so hard to rationalize how in the world it made sense to shut these studios down. And I'm like, stop that. Stop pretending they're smart.
Yeah, Microsoft has put themselves into the fucking Kobayashi Maru.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
they either don't put Call of Duty on it, in which case they will lose subs because they promised. And that was the last fucking hope. You're already seeing Xbox fanboys by the now. They've reached the bargaining phase where they're like, well, I understand that some things, like they're making up their own versions of Game Pass that they would be happy with.
Mm-hmm.
Or you raise the price and you lose a bunch of people because they're like, nobody's going to pay $25 a month for Game Pass.
Oh, wait.
No, here's the fucked up part. According to multiple people, if they hadn't, like people inside Microsoft, if they hadn't bought Activision, Microsoft leadership would have been content to just let them post whatever money or losses they make because it's so tiny.
Yeah, of course.
It was a
in the
rounding
grand
error.
scheme of things.
Right. Yeah. They were small
Like
enough.
so if you're an Xbox fan listening to this and you're like, I can't believe they ruined everything, it's because they bought Activision. You could have had Game Pass with everything on it forever. And all these studios still running. But then they decided to buy Activision. Now the big people have to pay attention.
And if you're listening right now and you are an Xbox fan, then I know you. And I know you wanted the acquisition because you didn't understand.
Yeah,
and now you do.
You didn't see the ramifications that were inevitable.
And the fun part is you're not done understanding now. You will increasingly understand what it meant to buy Activision over the next 2.5 years if you're lucky. It's okay. We have all these IPs. Yeah, you stop making games in those IPs for a decade.
They really need to.
No one knows what Fable is.
With Tango, it feels like there should have been some way to just divest themselves from it, like what happened with the Hitman developers. If they had any sort of care for any employee, they probably would have been able to find a way to do it.
Yeah.
But they did not. They did not care about anyone.
No, they wanted action now to change a spreadsheet now.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know
want to go
what?
to the front page of video game news websites, and I want to read recap articles like, and then they showed this fake ass CG trailer for a game they're never going to launch.
And I think a lot of people would forget if Microsoft all of a sudden became competent and stopped doing this. But there's gonna
they
be
can't.
more, like they can't stop. They don't care. They don't care about PR because if they cared, they wouldn't be doing this.
They can't.
They don't give a shit.
They can't make corporate understand the larger, higher, more powerful parts of their own body. Understand the importance of a good PR move anymore. So you're about to see downright depraved shit from Xbox.
Here's the only metric they're using. Will it hurt the sales of Call of Duty? No, then do it.
God, I just realized, like,
'Cause they'll
I
shut
was
them
about to
down.
make a Forza
Right.
Mine joke, but how do you threaten people with the Forza Mines when there might not be any more Forza?
Yeah, there should be a Forza
nothing.
Horizon this year if they keep to the. But
And
they
they're
completely
making
failed
Fable.
all of those.
Right, they're making Fable, so they fucked up the Forza Horizon studio.
I wanted Microsoft to
6.
get their shit together so fucking bad.
Yeah.
but
The
it's
original Xbox and 360 are so powerful, and people kept going, how the fuck did the people who made the 360 do all the rest of this? And I'm like, let me explain. The people responsible for the Xbox 360 and its strong developer support, some of them were gone by the time it shipped.
Yeah.
And almost all of them were gone by the end of the generation. That's how. They're not there, and they haven't been in a very long time. Would like to note, that was when the changeover went from Jay Allard to, I think, Peter Moore to dipshit who fucked everything up at the beginning of the Xbox One with the shift to...
Don Matrick.
Matrick, yeah. Don Matrick. And then to Phil Spencer. That is how that happened. I described one console generation, basically. the funny thing about Sony is that Sony has these big studios with a lot of staff to be Sony, and Microsoft doesn't and refuses to.
Yeah.
Like, they outsource, but they outsource on top of their studios that have like 200 to 300 employees.
Right.
And Microsoft won't do that.
No, it's impossible. You can't have that many people. What do you there? What do you need that many people for? You have incredible leadership like Matt Booty. Okay, when did Matt Booty start working at Xbox? I feel like we've been talking about how horrible he is for 10 years at least.
I really hate credits that go like this. He was previously led the global team responsible for developing Minecraft. Fuck you!
Yeah, no.
You didn't make Minecraft!
No.
Holy shit.
Anyway, I think we should call it.
Probably.
We've said so much. I don't know if there's more to say, but we could probably go on forever.
Yeah, because this has been what we've been talking about
For
4
years.
Yeah.
This has been the writing on the wall since May of 2020.
It really does bother me how much there is a certain, not at all of them, of course, but there is a certain genre of game journalists that really want to be viewed as like the elder statesmen of gaming because they've been doing it since like 7th gen or earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And paradoxically, it really seems like the less time somebody's been working in game journalism, the more equipped they are to be criticizing Microsoft. It's like all the ones who are really old guard are like spiritually blind to all of it, like Jeff Gerstmann, like Ryan McCaffrey.
The funniest thing is like,
Or it's like they can't deal with the fact that Microsoft is shitting their pants like this. They can barely even perceive it's happening. Like,
right.
They basically woke up and black was white and up was down.
In chat, the Sweet saying, during the Star Wars Jedi Survivor preview event, multiple press were directly speaking with PR folks for how to jump ship to PR because game journalism is not a steady paycheck.
I mean, yeah, that happens.
Yeah, that definitely is a career move countless game journalists have made. Have you seen what is it? What is the name of that real estate economic movie that featured Christian Bale of all people with Steve Carell and a bunch of other people? Is it The Big Short? Yeah, The Big Short, where Steve Carell's character. No, I think it was Christian Bale. He crunches the numbers and he figures out the bubble exists before the entire real estate market crashes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It feels like being that, but I didn't make $1 bajillion by the end, right?
Well, yeah, because we live in a cartoon world now where a company can close all their studios and somehow their stock price goes up, so you can't even short them.
Mm-hmm.
God, the worst part of this is like, yes, Xbox dying is bad for the industry, for us, for the people who work there. But the really bad part is they're going to be dying over 3 years.
Yeah, that's the part.
We're gonna have to keep waking up and see, oh, they shut these people down. Oh, they cut a bunch of people from this studio. Oh, that game's canceled. Oh, this game seems like it's in development hell.
Yeah, Embracer was the old meta.
Going.
The new meta is Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just ripping off all this Microsoft Band-Aids.
Yeah, and just not think about it ever again until next week when we have to talk about more studio contracts.
There better not be more for Microsoft in a single week's time.
Yeah, that would I would be so fucking furious to be like, just do it all at once, you pieces of shit.
We'd like a rolling cascade of human suffering.